Hi everyone, it's Tammy with Frou-frou Studio and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be working with some more feed sack fabric, and we're going to work on some belly bands because they're next up in my rotation of things I need to replenish. And so I thought that I would give you just a little bit of history on feed sacks in case you're not familiar with what they are. I had a couple of questions on comments of people, asking about feed sacks and what they were. And so I thought I'd share a little bit of knowledge of what I know about them, which isn't a whole lot, but I kind of understand the history of them and where they came from, so I thought I would share. These are some pieces that I purchased off Etsy of different types of feed sacks, and I purchased these because they were already cut up, and a lot of mine that I have, I don't want to cut them up, and so I found these, and you can see they were available in all kinds of different patterns and colors, and there's stripes and flowers and just all kinds of different patterns that were available. And the way these came about, from my understanding, was around the time that the sewing machine, or stitch machine, I think is what they actually called it, in the mid to late 1800s came around. Someone came up with the idea of, instead of putting the flour and the grain and the feed in the big wood barrels that were hard to move and they were heavy and, just weren't very practical, that they could buy cotton very cheaply at that time because of cotton mills and, unfortunately, the end of slavery and all that kind of stuff. And even after the end of slavery, and the cotton mills were struggling to recuperate and, regain some of their money in the South, in the cotton gin and, that whole thing, that cotton could be produced very inexpensively, and this would be a great alternative to the wood barrels. And so they started putting the grain and the flour and all sugar, all those kind of commodities into just plain, unbleached cotton bags, and they would take this round stamp that they had used to mark their barrels, and they just put it on the bag, and that was their logo. And then they, took those to the shops, and the men went to the or to the store, the grain store or whatever, and they would buy the bags and they would bring them home. Well, the women, being frugal and, like us crafters, wanting to use everything that they could possibly use, found out real quickly that they could take these bags apart and they could make things for their home out of the bags. They made pillowcases, they made sheets, they made clothes, they even made underwear. So they were fully using these bags. They were backing quilts with it. They were using these bags. Well, the manufacturers of the bags and of the feed started realizing that people were utilizing these, and so they got in this big competition with each other and hired designers and started actually printing the fabrics with these pretty patterns. And so you could go to the feed store and you could buy these feed sacks, and you could make, even prettier clothes, dresses, linens, from these feed sacks that had these pretty patterns. And so it took, I think, around 3 sacks to make a woman's dress. And so she would even request when her husband or her, oldest son, whoever went to the store to get the grains and the feed, I don't care what you get, but whatever you get, bring back 3 that are the same. So they would match and she would have enough to make a dress. So at first they were still printing the labels on there, and the women were finding that it was hard to wash out and get the labels off, and so they were actually printing instructions on how to wash it to get it out. And then someone came up with the idea, well, we'll just sew on a label. And so they started, stamping the label and sewing it on separately so that it could be removed and then cut up in the fabric used. So that's kind of how, it evolved into being used in the home. They also did embroidery patterns on the bags, like this one, the Monday through Sunday kind of thing. And it would be stamped with the pattern. And then you could embroider the, whatever the stamp was, and then wash it, and the ink would come out, and you would have, something like this. They would use their crochet and their rickrack and their fancy trim, and they would make hand towels or tea towels for their home. And they also made, which this is one of mine, this is an apron that is made out of a grain sack, and you can see that they put, nice trim on it. And they didn't even care, if you'll notice down here at the bottom, there's 2 different kinds of trim. So they were using every little piece of fabric that they could, because, we're talking during the Depression time and during the war, where things were hard to find. And so they were really having to utilize everything that they had to make clothes and stuff for their home. They never threw any scraps away. The scraps, the small pieces, those would be pieced together and used for quilts to keep them warm during the winter. And they made sure, and they used everything that they had, which we could use some lessons on that nowadays. So anyway, that's just a brief kind of history of what I know about feed sacks. My grandmother had feed sack towels. She used feed sacks in her quilts. She, did embroidery work like this, and she always wore an apron. And so that's why I have several aprons that I collect, and that's why, is because I never saw her without an apron. So that's that. And so what we're going to do today is we're going to kind of utilize some of these fabrics, and we're going to make some belly bands. And so I have prepared some things to save some time, and I'll kind of go through the steps of what I did to get to where I am. But the first thing that I did is, I'm calling this butterflies and belly bands, because all of the belly bands that I'm going to make today have butterflies on them. And my butterflies have been cut out of feed sack material. And I just used my dies. Now, I did try it with just the fabric first, and it did not work well. And so what I ended up doing is I ended up backing them with cardstock and then cutting them out, and that worked much better. And so I got a good clean cut. And these, of course, are Tim Holtz die cuts. And so were these. And then I had It's another die that I have that just has all kinds of different kinds of butterflies. And I took 2 or 3 of my smaller different kinds of scraps and made just a bunch of butterflies. So we're going to do 3 different styles. I also die cut some flowers. This is a Tim Holtz die as well. I think it's called Wildflowers. And I did several of those, and I've got some jute twine, and I've got some cardstock and some lace. And the first ones we're going to start on, I'm actually doing on some German book page. So we'll do one of each so that you can kind of see where I'm going. Let's do that one. And this one. And then we'll do one of the others. These are just German book page that have tea-dyed paper on the back just to make it a little sturdier. I put some texture paste on it with some coffee sprayed on it. And on this one, I stamped with some archival coffee ink, just some flowers. And then this one, I'm going to use the die cuts on. So let's get our die cuts on here first. And these are just tea dyed, and I did 2 or 3 different colors so that the flowers would be different colors. And I kept them neutral because I want my focus to be on the colors in the feed sack. So I didn't do anything too wild as far as you know, cutting out the die cuts, the colors. So I'm just going to lay some out here. I hope everybody's having a good day. That you're not too hot. It's kind of warm here. I'd say it's probably going to bring up a shower later. A storm maybe even. Because it's pretty hot. But it is summer, so I think that one needs to be darker. Like I said, I just cut several different patterns that are all in that same die set. And I'm just going to kind of randomly glue them on. Yeah, feed sacks are one of my things that I really enjoy looking at. They made a lot of juvenile prints too, for kids' clothes. Oh, and they also made patterns for like little stuffies that you could cut out and fill up and make dolls and, you know, little stuffed animals and things like that. I just tore that in half for your kids. It's really quite interesting. To read about. Might put a little ink around this one just because it is so light. Not with that, I'm not. Did you see this? That's what I was going to use. I don't think that's going to work. Meant to grab me another foam to put on that before I started. That's okay. I still got one set in here. It's not in great shape, but we'll make it work. It's like I start to do one thing and I'll get, you know, one of those squirrel moments and I'm distracted. Start doing something else. I'm just going to kind of randomly put these on here, and then I'll trim them off so I get them where I want them. Now these die cuts are just cut out of coffee and tea dyed papers. They're not cardstock or anything like that. They're just regular white paper, like copy paper, kind of. Maybe a little thicker than the cheapest copy paper, not coffee paper. They are coffee paper, but you know what I mean. So I just got through listening to audiobooks because I do still work, and so I really don't have time to sit down and read. But I just got through listening to Where the Crawdads Sing, and I know it's been out for a while, and as a matter of fact, the movie's fixing to come out. But it is excellent if you have not read it or have not listened to it. The audiobook version on Audible is very good. The narrator is very good. If you do listen to audiobooks. But it's got me missing my marshlands. I grew up in Charleston. And was there for the biggest part of my life before I came back home to the hills. It's kind of got me missing my marsh. So my next project may be something along that lines. Okay, so now we've got the base of that one. And I think for this one, I have 2 sets of butterflies that I have cut out of the feed sack. Sorry, obviously I can't think and talk at the same time. I want to put a big one on one of them. Okay, I kind of like that, I think. See, I want this to be the focus of the color, and that's why I did not choose a lot of color in the other things that are on the tag or belly band. All right, so I'm gonna glue this down. I'm gonna glue the bottom one pretty good, but when I glued the top piece, I just glued in the middle, so it's still got, you know, you can still bend the wings up, but with it being fabric, you know, when you put it in the book and they get flattened down, that's going to be fine too. I about fell out of my chair. That would have been funny if you'd have heard a big plop. The problem is that I sit on my feet when I work, and I don't know why I do that, because It doesn't do anything but put my feet to sleep, and then I go to move, and it's like I can't move anywhere because my feet are asleep. All right, and then I made these little tags, and I thought that I would put one of those, and I stamped it. It's actually a Tim Holtz stamp, and it is obviously, you know, there's only a partial piece there, but it is a stamp for a feed store. So I thought that was kind of appropriate, and I'm going to put it on like a pocket because I'm thinking I might want to stick a ticket or something down in it. I wish I had some, I know Tim Holtz had some at some point, but they were like ice tickets. You know, tickets to get your ice allotment during the war, in the Depression, but I don't think I have any more of those. Okay, and then I've also made, and these turned out super cute, these little tags. And I made these, I just took some muslin and I glued it on some cardstock, and then I cut them out, or stamped them all over with different kinds of stamps, and then I cut them out with a die cut, and it's a 6/6, I can never say that right, 6/6 die cut, and it has several different sizes, and I thought I had, here, okay, I thought I'd save this. See, it has, all I did was just glue the muslin down, stamped all over it, and then use the die cut and cut them out. So I thought if you have something that makes little tags, I'm looking for, going to wrap. This is just to add a little bit of extra texture. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this around here some. I'm going to glue this piece right down. And then, since this is a belly band and we want to be sure that it's going to not hang on anything, I'm going to put a piece of tape and I'm just going to use masking tape. I'm just going to put that right over the string so it won't hang while you're putting your journal card in and out. Okay, and then that will allow me to hang this little tag on that string there. And then we need something to put in here. I have this little 10 cents. Okay, I think that'll work, but I'm going to turn it around the other way. What's that one say? It's a fire company. Yeah, I really wish I had some of those ice coupons, but I'm almost sure that I've used them all. I almost think I need something else in there too. I'm gonna put a button there, I believe. Clamp that just for a minute, and that'll give me a second to look for. I almost think I need something this tealy color down here. So let me grab my little box here. See if I have anything in here. Might do that. Maybe that. What do you think? Hope you can see that. What do you think about that? Maybe reverse these. Let me put some ink on there. Now, I do plan to make journal cards for these as well, so when I list them, you will get the belly band and a journal card to match. But I have not prepared those yet, so once I get those prepared, then we'll put some photos so you can see. All right, so there's that one. I think that's really cute. So it'll look really cute with a, say if this was a journal card. Of course, it could be a little bigger. And it could slide in there like that. Or this side. Or it could be on a page where it's a side tuck. But I kind of like the idea of it being in the middle of the page, especially if you had a page, which, you know, I will do that when I make the journal card. If you had a page that had this color in it. Oh, I do have these journal cards that these are from, this is Life's Vignette by Blue Fern Studios, and this is her journal cards, and I have not used any of them yet, and this is an adorable kit. Let's see. A lot of these are photos. Tags. These may not have the right colors. That would be cute. Something like that. It says Tailor Made Clothing Company on the back of it. You could use that color as well. That one's got a photo on it. I'd like to have something that would have, that one's got a butterfly, writing space on the back side. That's cute. That would be cute. Maybe something like that. It doesn't have a writing space, really. Oh well, I have to think about that. Let's move on to the next one before I get stuck on worrying about that and we run out of time. Okay. For the next one, let's use these two butterflies. And again, these are just stamps. Do something like that. Again, I just glued the bottom and left the, get that out of my way for the moment. Left the top wings loose so they can fold up. As much or as little as you'd like. All right, so for this one, okay, we've got our little feed stamp. Tag. Yes, I did have my glue pen in my mouth. It's a bad habit. Okay, and let's put our little antennae on here. Wrap our string. Get that good and straightened out. This one I have the front and the back, or the both ends of the string are on the front. So I'm going to run another bead of glue. Just make it nice and flat. Okay, and put our tape on the back. And that's probably not totally necessary because it's probably not going to catch anyway because it's, you know, it's pretty smooth, but it just gives me peace of mind that it's back there and it won't get hung on something. Can't get it in there now. There we go. On that one, I think I'm going to use this big long tag. I think it's cute. Long and skinny. And maybe this button. Clamp that where I'm finding something to stick in the pocket on this one. I think I have another one of those. Oh, maybe I don't. I have one that says Avon Fire Company on it. Oh, what? There we go. There's another 10-cent one. Oh, I'm going to have to get a piece of foam to put on that thing before I totally burn it. I keep sticking it in the ink. I'll have to clean it and everything. Alright, now let's see what we can find in our little box. Maybe a reddish orange color. These are all little Tim Holtz. There's like a thread end, you know, like a label of thread. It's kind of red. Doesn't have enough red in it. What else is in here? There's yellow, but that's too yellow. I wonder if I could dull that down a little bit. See what's in the bottom. And these are more like nature. Oops. Can't really see anything in there. Okay, so let's see if we can. Alright. Putting the box back together. Apparently. Whoops. Okay. We're going to set it over there because it's not cooperating. Alright. Oh. And then put it behind this other one. There. That works. There's number 2. Okay, for the last one, I have just a piece of cardstock. It's Tim Holtz cardstock, I believe. Just a little scrap I had. And ink it up. And then I'm going to take this piece of lace, crocheted lace, and I'm going to put it right down the middle. Use Fabri-Tac for that. I haven't had it open today, so it's... I need to fill it back up. I'm going to put it on the paper rather than on the back of the lace. Hopefully that'll save me a little bit of heartache. I doubt it. Try to get it in the middle as best I can. A lot of it's going to be covered up, and so it won't matter that if I miss a little bit of glue, because I don't think you'll be able to see it once I'm done. Okay. So, what we're going to do on this one is we are just going to put a plethora of butterflies all up and down this one. And we're going to start with biggest ones down here and go to the smallest ones because, you know, I'm looking at this with the idea that this is closer to me down here and that's further away. So that's kind of the way that I'm going to approach this and hope that it comes out the way that I want it to. So I'm going to go through, just going to grab all of these. We won't be using all of these, but I want to be able to see my different sizes and patterns. So, like I said, I think I did three different patterns of paper. And there's several different sizes. Sorry, I'll try to do this quickly. Alright, so there's my three that size. There's my three that size. And I probably won't have three in every size because I'm pretty sure that I dropped a couple on the floor when I was inking them. And that must be one I dropped. Okay, so that's kind of the general idea size-wise. I think I can work with that. Okay, so we'll start with the big ones. Down at the bottom. Let's try to start with 2 each. Let's see how that works. kind of like putting a jigsaw puzzle together. Okay, we're going to start with that. Again, I'm just going to glue these kind of in the middle because I don't want them to, you know, appear like they're flat against the surface. I want them to have some movement to them. I think that needs another mid-size one. I'm going to move that up just a little bit so I can put one in there. No, not that one. This one, maybe. And let's do the striped one right here to break that up. I need that. Okay. Oh, I really need this yellow one. It's stuck to my finger now. Nope, I don't need that. Okay. So we got those all on there. Now I want to take buttons. Sorry, I'm just grabbing them out of my tray over here. And just randomly on purpose. Because I don't have teeny tiny ones. So for those blue ones. Okay, let's get those down real quick. Blue strings. And I think up at the top, what I'm gonna do is not necessarily worry about putting it on the butterfly, but like on the lace, so that it looks like I'm continuing the buttons up through to the top, like that. And I think I might even, I'm thinking a lot, aren't I? Put another piece of lace on the outside because you can't really even tell that there's lace because I covered it all up. Wonder if my wide crocheted lace, this is wide enough to show on both sides. Not really. Okay. Then what if we pick my butterflies up here? Take a piece of, bringing out my magic box here, guys. These are all my little scrappy pieces that aren't really, like my doilies and things like that, that aren't really in good enough shape to, like, see, this is from an apron that was not in very good shape. That takes way too much. No, I really need, maybe what I need to do is just 2 pieces. I feel like I need lace on both sides of that. But then again, I don't want to make it hard to slip things in and out. Well, that looks kind of cute, doesn't it? Let's do that. I found that at an antique store. I don't know how old it is, but I liked it because it was 2 different colors. Now, do we want it on the other side? Or do we want to leave it? Why, yes, I think we do, Tammy. I think we do want it on both sides. Okay. What I may do is I may put another piece of paper over that, again, for the same purpose of making sure that things can slip in and out. So if I put another piece of paper, you know, from here to here, and cover up where it could possibly get caught on the edges of that trim, then that would probably be better. And then I don't think we need one of those tags or anything else on this one because it's got a lot going on. It's got a lot of color, but I like that for summer. Again, now that everything is down, you can go and bend up your wings. So, I don't want to do too much to all my buttons have a chance to dry, but you get the idea. There we go. I actually think that that white may need to be toned down just a little bit. I don't know where my glue book is. Put it on here. Just going to give it just a little inking. Just a little bit so that white is just not so white. Okay, so there's our 3 belly bands. And like I said, once I figure out what I want to do, I will make journal cards for all 3 styles. And I will make 3 more very similar that I already have the materials cut out for. There's that one. And here's our last one, which that's my favorite color, so I think this one's my favorite. But oh, I see a flower I need to fix here. Okay, much better. So there we go. There's our 3 belly bands. I hope you guys enjoyed that, and I hope you guys enjoyed hearing about the feed sacks if you did not already know kind of the history of them. And that will complete our belly band and butterfly episode. And if you have not subscribed, please do so, and hit that little bell for notifications for future videos coming up. And if you have already subscribed, thank you so much, and thank you for all the support in my shop. I really appreciate it. And I guess we will be back on Tuesday for Marguerite Miller. And until then, everybody, as always, stay safe and stay healthy, and we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye.